This conversation that we're having is something that I would almost refer to as MAGA 101. This is like a freshman year class in MAGA college.
When I saw the H-1B debate going around,
like cat fight. All right, man, let's go.
Mostly what I saw was racism against Indians.
Steve Bannon and the diehard MAGA group, they look at this as a betrayal.
Elon Musk has been at Mar-a-Lago for a bit too long and thinks that that is the sample of what MAGA is, and it simply isn't.
I think it's funny that you mentioned ad hominem attacks after you released a 26-minute video detailing my dad's benzo withdrawal and allergic reactions out on YouTube.
Do you mind if I finish my sentence, Mikhaila? You've just been talking for a long time.
I mean, everybody knew about Jordan Peterson's little like drug addiction. Like everybody was calling that out before Candace Owens. But you know, Candace Owens having a bigger platform, they always want to come after her as if she was the first one to say it.
Do you mind if I
kind of
there's not a time. There's not a time. Do you mind if I finish my sentence?
Another, it's hard to address them all.
Do you mind if I finish my sentence? I feel like I've let you speak.
I mean, a bit, but go ahead.
Everyone's speaking.
The so-called MAGA civil war over visas for skilled workers has put some Trump supporters on an unusual collision course with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. The latter criticized U.S. attitudes and work ethics, saying a culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. Well, this was Steve Bannon's response.
I've said many times that Elon came and Elon's...
I didn't like that argument because I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. That sounds like a battle of the nerds argument. Like, bro, all right, what you got against the jocks? Like, so you got to pretty much, I ain't gonna be real with you, shit on our culture because what? We like athletics? I mean, come on, America, we the best at athletics. Did you check the Olympics every time?
His money help organize the grassroots effort. In his engineering mind, he saw what the problem was as we saw it,
but admittedly,
and he supported it. And for that, he gets a place at the table. There's no doubt. We love converts, but the converts sit in the back and study for years and years and years to make sure you understand the faith and you understand the nuances of the faith and understand how you can internalize the faith. Don't come up and go to the pulpit in your first week here and start lecturing people about the way things are going to be. If you're going to do that, we're going to rip your face off.
Wow. Well, it's not just a battle of the bros. Two influential voices on the right, Mikhaila Peterson and Candace Owens, traded barbs on this issue too. Peterson said, why did the woke right pretend it was illegal immigration they were against when it turned out it was immigration in general? At least be honest about it. There's assimilation into the culture and legal immigration. What is the problem other than skin color? To which Candace Owens replied, Jordan Peterson's daughter thinks the visa debate comes down to Americans being upset about immigrant skin color, lol, and the nerve to call the right woke as she makes it about race. 2025 is going to be so much fun. Well, indeed it is, because I
mean, that was a banger comment. Like, shout out Candace Owens. I mean, talk about the black girl snapback.
I'm going to bring these two together. Candace Owens, host of the Candace podcast, and Mikhaila Peterson, co-founder of Peterson Academy, both join me now. Welcome to both of you. Happy New Year to both of you. And Candace, you said it's going to be fun this year. Here we go. What was your big objection to what Mikhaila said?
Well, first and foremost, just to be someone that's so new in this country and then to immediately castigate or to cast aside everybody that's in here and say, well, guess what? You're just a bunch of racists. You don't like brown skin, while at the same time referring to us as woke was just mind-boggling to me. Just as Steve Bannon said, it means that she hasn't spent the time to understand who and what the American people are, what the MAGA movement is, and why they have concerns about this program. And so to make sure that everybody around the world understands why this is such a big debate, the H-1B visa program is essentially a foreign worker visa that allows employers to hire workers into quote unquote specialty programs, essentially for people who have some sort of a specialized knowledge. But to be clear, the program has been around since 1990, so the results aren't up for debate. We were just simply lied to about what we were told it was going to do, which was to source the top 1% of talent globally. Instead, they're using the program to source cashiers, teachers, janitors, PR people. So I'm going to have to believe that the American people are very much capable and willing to fulfill those positions, and that instead this program has been completely abused to get foreign workers here who then have a...
Because I hate that and disingenuous argument of, oh, well, we don't have enough STEM. Like only 20% of U.S. Americans going to STEM. You acting like 20% isn't a lot. Quit playing us. Quit playing us. You know damn well y'all be choosing the low wage labor that you can disrespect and leverage and hold leverage over. You rather have them than an American that you gotta actually pay. Like, nah, ain't no way y'all just gonna use that argument. Well, only 20% of y'all going to STEM. Okay, cool. Why don't all 20% of them have a job? Tell me that.
Pathway to citizenship, and it lowers worker wages, and it's harming the American people. So I am not fond of it. And I'll add here that prior to his passing, Lou Dobbs of Fox News looked into the program, and he determined that 7 out of the 10 H-1B.
Honestly, there wouldn't really be a complaint if there was all these tech hires for Americans. It wouldn't be a complaint because you're like, all right, cool, yeah, you're right. Damn near every American who went into tech is hired. So all right, cool. I guess we do need a little bit more, but it's not like that, though. That is not the case.
Positions were being outsourced from Indian corporations to American corporations. So it's not globally looking at the 1%. And 5 of those 7 positions were category 1, which essentially just means that they didn't require any specialized knowledge. These are the janitors, these are the teachers, and they are just taking jobs away from the American people. So I just found her referring to this as an issue with being brown, or Americans having an issue with brown people, to be almost comical, to be honest. And I'd love to hear her further explain that position.
Okay, well, we're now going to hear it. Mikhaila, over to you.
Please.
So I don't know, Candace, if you're seeing what I'm seeing on X, but when I saw the H-1B debate going around, mostly what I saw was racism against Indians specifically.
I mean,
and I'm not saying there isn't a problem with the visa issue in the States in general. Getting top talent here is very difficult. Like, I had a very difficult time getting it.
No, I have to hold myself accountable because it was I who made the joke, who said, I ain't gonna lie, I'd rather hear like Tyrone from the hood. I'd rather hear Day Day from the hood than Sanjay out there in India. I'll be honest with you. At least I can sit there and be like, well, that's American. That's us. That's us. But I can't sit there and listen to that and be over here struggling to understand. At least I can understand the hood talk. At least. I mean, even white people can damn near agree with me on that.
And I'm married to an American, and it was long and annoying, and they don't have a proper way to test people. So there's plenty of flaws to talk about. But I think right before the inauguration, having conservatives argue like amongst ourselves about an H-1B visa issue when we have an open border is silly, especially when it does kind of dredge up what I called the woke right on X. And I know you've scoffed at the term the woke right, but it encompasses these people that are focused on anti-Semitism, Jews, and are they're pro-America, but their idea of America is this white America, similar to...
See, and I just said that. I'm like, that's not our idea of America. I mean, we accept all the cultures of America. The problem is when you outsource so heavy to put them in a whole nother country to where we're barely understanding their English, where obviously it'd be better to hire somebody who actually knows English. It's crazy. And they know that they're doing it. So, and I just made the reference of, well, I'd rather hear the hood talk, I'd rather hear the urban talk than hear the broken English. That means, oh, it's not just about white America, it's about black America as well. Like, hey, man, we in this mug too. Even, bro, I'd rather hear the essays out of LA. I'd rather hear that damn near.
I guess what everyone's been arguing about for the last 200 years whenever anybody new comes into the country. And I do think it has to do with race. And I think you can see that from comments on Twitter. I mean, Vivek put up a picture. I don't know if you saw it. It wasn't Vivek. It was this horrible woman on Twitter. What's her name? Something Lupus. She's a doctor. She goes, oh, what do you guys think about this? Thoughts. And it's a picture of Vivek and his brown family. And one of the most interacted with comments was subversive brown poop eating parasites. And that's what flooded my feed. And I think I had some irritation because I'm, aligning with conservatives because the woke left has been a disaster for America and for Canada and for the West for years. And it's just frustrating to see them go at each other over something like an H-1B when there are bigger issues like an open border. And I think people are misunderstanding the H-1B, although it does have its issues as well. There's also the H-2B, which nobody knows about, and that's for people who are paid lower. The average wage for an H-1B visa is $118K. So there was all this talk on Twitter about how these people are underpaid and everything. $118K is pretty good. You know, companies, I don't think most companies, especially tech companies, are hiring H-1Bs to become more successful, to make more money. You're not making more money by getting H-1B visas in. You're making more money by having a successful company, by hiring top talent. So
But we just made the argument that you can hire them as a level 1, which means they wouldn't have top level talent. That's the problem with the H-1B visa, is that you can even get people in on a level 1 basis, or like that's the problem. That should not be allowed. We should only do the O1. I mean, anything, bro. If it ain't the O1, I'm not trying to hear it. They shouldn't be over here.
I don't think we're completely not aligned entirely, because I agree the visa process in America is ridiculous and it doesn't test people, like I said, properly. But I think it's silly to fracture the Conservative Party by arguing about 85,000 H-1B visas when we have an open border. And I don't like the race.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure I can find 85,000 people that's graduating from tech, or that's been graduating from tech, that don't got a job in tech, that we could have gave those jobs to. Or, you know, wherever these H-1 visas are, I'm pretty sure we could have found an American that could replace their job, just like that could replace them in their job, just like that.
Okay. Candace, I mean, do you see common ground there in what you just heard from Mikhaila? And what do you also feel about the fact that for Steve Bannon and the diehard MAGA group, they look at this as a betrayal when they see Vivek and Elon and now Trump as well, all piling in, enthusiastically supporting this. They say, well, hang on, that's not about making America great again. They're not buying into, we need to get all these brilliant people coming here. They think it's a system that's being abused, and it goes against the spirit of MAGA. So you're seeing a real interesting debate raging about the heart of what MAGA really means.
I think Steve Bannon fully has his finger on the pulse there, so he's completely right. And just to respond to the point about seeing racist comments on Twitter, I've heard this argument a lot of times from people where they'll suddenly pretend that if you take a position of something and they can find a racist comment beneath it, then you're on the side of the racist.
That's not what I'm doing.
That's just called... Well, I'm just saying that literally since the day that I started my accounts on Instagram, I've been called the N-word from left and the right. It's just welcome to the internet. You know, doesn't mean that these are the positions that are represented. In fact, this conversation that we're having is something that I would almost refer to as MAGA 101. This is like a freshman year class in MAGA college. I've been hearing this debate, have spoken about this debate on stage. I mean, I've spoken at more than 100 universities. And to be frank with you, because I came over from the left, when I first got into this movement, I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, well, I don't understand what the issue is if it's legal migration. But I then listened to people and I wanted to understand where people were coming from. And I opened my mind to what they were saying and realized that they were very much correct. And I think that's sort of where you get into trouble with the MAGA movement, when you just instantly sweep away and condemn everyone and say, well, some people were saying racist stuff about Indians, and so this entire argument now is based on racism. It simply isn't. You know, Vivek, I personally stumped for Vivek. So if you think that I'm going to be on board with people being racist for him, when I went on the ground with him all throughout Iowa when he was running for president, of course not. I'm also brown myself, but I understand that this has nothing to do with the merits of the arguments that are being presented here. And it is just a fact that the H-1B visa, the majority of the people that are coming into this country are not coming in with any extraordinary skills, are not coming in because they're a part of the 1%. It is being completely abused and jobs are being taken away from the American people. Now, Piers, to your point about the MAGA rift, I'm glad to see it. I very much agree with Steve Bannon. I mean, the last estimate that was done, by the way, and this speaks to Mikhaila, you saying it's just 85,000 people that are allowed annually. Well, the last estimate that was done in 2019 approximated that 600.
And guys, make sure to like the video. Go ahead and double tap that screen or the 3 dots up there in the corner. And we are 38 super chats away from one opening the call-in line. And also, let's try it again, giving you guys this Tommy Robinson documentary, the one they try to ban. Well, silence.
1,000 foreign nationals were here.
Hey, shout out Seth. She says, so Jason, Joe, Chad, all just like Harry's boyfriend. I'm weak. Well, damn.
On this visa program, all of them being provided with a pathway to citizenship that doesn't include in 2 years, you can then get out of that program and become a permanent resident. Okay, so that they're allowed to stay in this country from up to 6 years. They don't apply for permanent residency. Of course, we can assume that the majority of them do. And they're allowed to stay up to 10 years if they go to work for the Department of Defense. again, all of these applicants have a pathway to citizenship. So you just imagine you're like, yeah, I just went to work in America as a teacher for a couple of years and I became a citizen, or as a janitor for a couple of years and I became a citizen. It's not okay. And I want to be clear, all across the board, it's not just the H-1B. There's a ton of visa programs that are being routinely abused. And like I said, I have faith in the American people. I think that the American people can fulfill those positions. I know they can fulfill those positions. And so I am not on.
I have faith in our people too. That's why I'm just like, yeah, there's no way. Because I mean, even when PBD tried to make the argument of, oh, well, only 20% of you guys do STEM, disingenuous. It's like, bro, that's a big ass number of people. I mean, that's a large number. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that, oh, well, the fact that they're not all of them don't have a job is a problem. Like, bro, all of them should have a job. There's such a low number and we have all these tech jobs, you know, level 1 and up, right? Right. So if all of them don't have a job and somehow for some reason H-1B visas are being used for these positions, then what? Then what's your argument?
On the side of Elon Musk and Trump in this debate. And I think that, you know, Elon Musk has been at Mar-a-Lago for a bit too long and thinks that that is the sample of what MAGA is, and it simply isn't. Steve Bannon has been on the ground and spoken to those people for years. He understands what they're saying, and it would be gracious for Elon Musk to kind of step down and recognize that he's simply wrong in this debate.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you actually posted to me on X, of course, owned by Elon Musk. You said, we'll have to get together in the new year so you can let me finish what I was going to say about Elon Musk. A lot has happened since I didn't finish that sentence. Exciting dialogue awaits. And we did leave people on a slight cliffhanger about Elon Musk. So now's your chance to finish that sentence, and then I'll get Mikhaila to respond. But I mean, Musk he's everywhere right now, literally poking his head into every country, it seems, in the world, particularly my country. Where he's just in the last 2 days, he's called for the king to dissolve parliament, which he can't actually do. Mm-hmm. He's called for Sir Keir Starmer, the prime minister, to be imprisoned. He's hammered a previous prime minister, Gordon Brown. He's called another senior member of the cabinet here, an evil woman, Jess Phillips, who's been waging a rape genocide apology tour, I think is how he put it. I mean, this is inflammatory, incendiary stuff. What do you think his game plan is here?
Well, that was what I was going to say to you. And for people that haven't watched it, we were able to sit down and speak about a variety of issues, but we did disagree on Elon Musk. You said that he was a superhero, and I didn't say that he hadn't done superheroic things. You know, I thought that he was going to rescue speech on X. Even that's up for debate now, given the H-1B visa debate. But I was never keen on him essentially buying a seat at the table, which is what he's done, because we don't know what Elon Musk believes. You know, I am a Christian conservative. Elon Musk, of course, is going to be at odds with me and my beliefs because he wants to put brain chips in.
And I watched damn near every interview of the man. I don't know all of his core beliefs. I'll say that.
In people's minds, he wants to go to Mars. You know, these things conflict with me theologically. You know, I think he's a transhumanist. What are his perspectives on marriage? He's had how many different women? I think he has up to 13 different children. What is Elon Musk's endgame? And we have not seen people interview him fairly. They're either incredibly hostile to him, like you saw with Don Lemon, or they're too friendly to him, and which they just,
as you see with Joe Rogan,
see him as a superhero. And I would actually like to see someone sit down and flesh out what Elon Musk actually believes. What is his goal? What is he trying to contribute? Because I don't think you can say that you are a conservative if you are not ultimately trying to conserve the nuclear family unit. And I don't think that he's trying to do any of those things. And so we're now seeing that, okay, maybe this is about AI for him. Maybe this is about data collection for him. Maybe this is about him wanting to be the first person and getting a leg into federal governments so that he can do things that are on a larger scale in terms of artificial intelligence. I don't know the answer to that, and not knowing the answer to that made me uncomfortable when people did what we always speak against, which is essentially turn him into a celebrity, that worship him like he's Taylor Swift, and think that because he's got tons of money and bought X, that he's now suddenly
like. I was impressed with Elon's feat, but I can't say I just fully trust the man. Now, and everybody was trying to disrespect and say, oh, he's this, he needs that. I'm like, I had to defend it because I'm like, bro, y'all don't even know. We really don't even know our damn self what some of this man's core beliefs are. We just know he want to put what? He want to put us on Mars. He want to put chips in brains. As far as I'm concerned, that's mostly what I know about Elon Musk. And then all of a sudden he hops on the pro-MAGA train, was a complete surprise. So let's be real. Let's all be fair. We can't just demonize him. We can't just, prophesize him.
allowed to direct us on politics. I just am not into celebrity worship culture.
Mikhaila, interestingly, Elon Musk began following you on X just 3 days ago. And that happened after you complained that you thought YouTube was trying to shadow ban your father Jordan's interview with Tommy Robinson, very controversial figure over here in the UK. What did you think when Elon began following you?
I mean, I'm an Elon fan, so I kind of had a bit of a.
And shout out Big Wave Dave. He said, "Oh yeah, next song." All right, man. We got Big Wave Dave with the next song. Let's just get through Elon's outburst.
Fangirl moment. And I'm not a fan of celebrity culture, like Candace said either. I don't usually follow that stuff, but I appreciate what
and you sure do follow every negative trail on Twitter. I'll tell you that.
Elon's doing. And I think it's totally fair if you're trying to give the world internet and doing what he's doing for the better of civilization, which I totally believe that he has a seat at the table. He's also brilliant. So maybe some people don't understand what they're doing, but maybe it's an IQ difference.
And then when here's the thing, she's gonna bring up the whole, oh, it's the IQ different of the Ashkenazi Jew. I'm like, I get kind of offended when they say that. I'm like, you're acting as if nobody else could have came up with that idea. You're acting like there weren't other races of people who were coming up with EV cars. So, I mean, it's just like, look, we don't like white supremacy. We don't like black supremacy. So it's kind of crazy how we I'm just going to say, it's kind of crazy how we kind of let this Jewish supremacy kind of reign. It's like, oh, well, we have the highest IQ, which is statistically proven. It's like, yo, what type of supremacist like statistics you trying to pull here? Like, can y'all really back that up? Well, I don't know. If you check out most of the collective net worth, then they might just be able to.
Difference thing.
Well, okay. I mean, look, I think he's a genius, no question. But I also think he does seem to amplify to his own gigantic audience. I mean, I don't know how many gazillion followers he now has, but well over 150 million, I think. I think it's 200 million. He amplifies all sorts of random people, some of whom are utterly appalling. The worst kind of horrible, extreme right-wing headbangers, and he's giving them this massive platform to spew often complete nonsense. Now, underpinning it, I think he's well-intentioned in that if you take the rape scandal in the UK, for example, he's not wrong that it was a disgraceful scandal. There was an appalling cover-up, and there should be a big national inquiry. But when he calls for the
neither was Tommy Robinson. If you want to watch that Tommy Robinson documentary, man, let's get us to that 50 super chat goal. We'll go ahead and run it. Let's go.
King to dissolve Parliament, which he can't actually do. When he calls for the Prime Minister to be jailed, all these kind of things. When he really personally abuses in the most awful way Jess Phillips, who's a female MP. When we've had 2 members of Parliament in the UK murdered in the last 10 years, and he's basically putting a massive target on her head for random headbangers to, go after this, as he put it, genocidal rape apologist. I mean, you couldn't think of a worse thing to say about a woman who's actually campaigned a lot in this area for many years. So I think there is a danger with Elon doesn't quite perhaps comprehend his own power on his own platform.
I mean, that's probably true. I think anybody at his level is going to be impossible to comprehend what kind of power you have. Having any type of social media following, it's shocking when people agree with you. So that's definitely true. I don't know enough about Jess Phillips, but after reading what happened to, apparently at least.
And shout out Seth. She says, man, F y'all. I'll wait all summer for the code. Oh, hush. I'm done. She says, nah, y'all just being soft. It's like, well, I'm gonna tell you one thing that softens me, and that's extreme cold.
250,000 girls in the UK.
Well, we don't know how many. I mean, that figure I think is being plucked out of thin air, really. I mean, what we do know.
But then some people have said more, right? And some people have said less. It's still an alarming.
What we do know, what we can agree on, is that thousands of young girls, very young, mainly underage girls, were systematically raped and abused and drugged and fed alcohol and treated like underage prostitutes by predominantly British Pakistani men in the north of England in up to 50 towns and villages. That is a
shout out Hellbat. He said, okay, warm blood. But nah, for real though, I ain't even gonna lie. I hate the code.
A horrendous scandal, and there was an equally horrendous cover-up from the bottom right to the top of local council authorities and